Hello students, today you are going to learn new lesson from class 8th. So new lesson number is 5 and chapter name is Coal and Petroleum. So this is our new lesson Coal and Petroleum. So this is chapter 5. In this lesson you are going to learn point 1 coal, then petroleum, natural gas and some natural resources are limited. So in this lesson these are the main points which you are going to learn. So step by step we will learn the first point. Before starting the point, here are some keywords which are given in our textbook. Coal, coal gas, coal tar, coke, fossil fuel, natural gas, petroleum and petroleum refinery. So these are the keywords, these are the unknown words for all of you. So while learning you can come to know what are the meanings of all these words. Here is a summary of the lesson which is given in your book at the end of the lesson, that is what you learned. So what you have learned, here the summary of the chapter is given, so you can read from the lesson. And now here our lesson start with the activity. So before starting the lesson we have to complete this activity. So what are the activities? Now make a list of various materials used by us in daily life and classify them as a natural and man-made resources. Okay, so now this is a small and very interesting activity to all of you, and easily you can complete this activity. You have to look around. There are many objects which are natural and which are man-made. So you have to find out all those things and you have to note down here in the table. So you can complete the table by writing. For example, now around us there is air. So air we can classify into a natural column. Air is a natural because we have not made an air. So air is a natural. But if we take an example of this pen, so this pen is man-made. So here I can write pen. So this pen is made by man, but there are some things which can found naturally in our environment. For example, soil. Soil can be found in the environment naturally. So we have not made it. So here we can write soil. Again, the water which we drink, that is also made up of, that is also made by naturally. So here we can write water. But the things which are, for example, in our class there are different type of benches, chair. So we can write example of bench. It is made by man. It is man-made. Chair. This board. So I will write whiteboard. Whiteboard. Now here we can write plants. Plants. These are naturally made. So like these things are there which are naturally made, and some things are there which are made by human being. Again, there are many things which are naturally made, that is LPG, CNG, then this petrol, diesel. Petrol, diesel, some are in fruits. So all these things are naturally made. Here you can write many things. Your school bag, which is made by man. Fan. Many things are there which can you come write in a table and you can complete the table. So here the things are there. Various things are around us. Some are natural and some are man-made. Now next point is, a small activity is given there, 5.2. So what is that activity? It is a group activity which you have to do in a group. So take some containers, fill them with popcorn, peanuts, roasted gram or toffees. Divide students into groups of 7 each. Further divide each group into 3 subgroups containing 1, 2 and 4 students. Label them as first, second and third generation respectively. So here it is the group activity where the student has to divide into different groups, and in a different group we have to keep different number of students. For example, in one group 1 student, another group 2 students, in another group 4 students. Like that way we have to divide the students in a group, and these groups are named by generation: first generation, second generation and third generation. These subgroups represent the consumers. Now these groups will represent consumers which can eat the group. They are going to eat. What they are going to eat? The popcorn, peanuts or anything, or roasted gram, anything or any one of these we will take in a container, and then we will call the generations for eating all those things. As population is growing, second and third generation have larger number of consumers. Put one full container for each group on the table. Ask consumers of the first generation come from each group to consume eatables from the container of their group. Now ask the second generation consumers from each group to do the same. Ask students to observe carefully the availability of eatables in each container. If something is left in the containers, ask third generation from each group to consume it. Now finally observe whether all the consumers of the third generation got the eatables or not. Also observe if anything is still left in any of the containers. Now here our activity is given where one bowl which can be filled with the groundnuts. We can take roasted groundnuts, and if we call the students, for example, if there are the 4 groups, in one group only 1 student, in another group 2 students, in third group 3 students, and in fourth group 4 students. So we will label the group first generation, then second generation, third generation and fourth generation. So in this way the students will come. For example, first generation contains how many students? 1. Here 2 students, in third generation 3 students, and in fourth generation 4 students. So this first generation will come, and we will ask the student which are in the first generation to consume these groundnuts. So they will start eating the groundnuts, and how much they want they will eat. Then afterwards, when their eating will over, then we will call second generation. There are 2 students, so 2 students will come and they will start consuming these groundnuts. So definitely the level of the groundnuts will goes down or decrease. Then third generation will come, and the number of students in the third generation, they will start eating or consuming these groundnuts. So finally what will happen? There will be some groundnuts in the bowl, or there will be nothing in the bowl for the fourth generation. And if there is something left in the bowl for fourth generation, then they will start eating. But if anything left in the bowl, then that will be for the fifth generation. If there is nothing left in the bowl, then the next generation will not get anything for eating or anything for the consuming. So like that way only the petroleum is available. Means if you see, the groundnuts are limited in quantity and the number of population, the students 1, 2, 3, 4. So as generation increases, the number of students increases or number of consumers increases, but the groundnuts are limited. So once at one time all the groundnuts are going to finish. If we will not use this properly, then definitely it will get finished and the generation will not get anything ahead. So here this example is given to explain about the petroleum. Now petrol, diesel, kerosene, all these type of fuels are limited in the quantity, and if the generation start using the petrol, diesel more and more, so one day the next generation will not get any fuel to use. So whatever fuel we are using nowadays, we have to use it sparingly. So the next generation must get the for running the vehicles or automobiles. So in this way, here the groundnuts are limited. So in our surrounding, in our environment, petroleum resources are also limited. So we have to use it properly, and we have to think for the next generation that they must get it. For that we have to try. Next point is we various materials for our basic needs. Some of them are found in nature and some have been made with the human efforts. So there are many things in the environment which are found naturally and which are found by artificially. So man made it. So here we can see the first heading, inexhaustible natural resources. So what is meant by inexhaustible natural resources? So here you can see in the picture, here is a plant, this one is the sun, soil and stone, many things are there. So these resources are present in unlimited quantity. So there is no limited quantity, it is unlimited quantity. So these resources, what resources? The plant, sunlight, air. I will again write here. Air, light, plants, soil, water. So all these resources are present in unlimited quantity in nature and are not likely to exhausted by human activities. Example, sunlight and air is given. So like these resources are more in abundant form in our environment and they are not going to finish immediately. They are not going to exhaust immediately by the human activities. What are the human activities now? For in case of air, we inhale and we exhale. So we breathe in and breathe out. So this air we use for different purposes. But this is our human activity. But after the human activity also, these resources are not going to finish. These resources are not going to exhaust it. Even light, sunlight also, we are also using, plants using, animal using in more amount, but the sunlight is in more amount, it is in unlimited quantity. So these resources which present in unlimited quantity, here we can underline unlimited quantity, where in the nature and are not likely to exhausted by human activities. Such resources are called as inexhaustible natural resources. Now another point is exhaustible natural resources. Here some more point is given. The amount of these resources in nature is limited. Now one difference is there. Here inexhaustible natural resources are unlimited in quantity, but these exhaustible natural resources are limited. They are limited. They can be exhausted by human activities. Example. Now here example is given. So example, I will give an example to you. Now for example, now petrol we can take. Petrol. So the petrol, this is limited in the quantity. So one day, because of human activities, we are using this petrol for running the automobiles. So definitely one day it can be exhausted by the human activities. So the definition is the amount of these natural resources, the amount of these resources in nature limited and they can be exhausted by human activities. Next point is, in this chapter we will learn about some exhaustible natural resources like coal. Here are the examples: coal, petrol or petroleum and natural gas. So these are naturally found, but they are limited in quantity. So they will get exhausted by human activities. That's why they are called as exhaustible natural resources. These were formed from the dead remains of living organisms, which are called as fossils. So these are all known as fossil fuels. So why these are called as fossil fuels? Because these were formed, prepared or produced from dead remains of living organism. That's why the things or the natural resources which are found by the dead remains of living organism, those are called as fossils, and such type of fuels are called as fossil fuels. So this petrol, diesel, coal, natural gas, all are the fossil fuels because they formed by the process on the dead remains of living organism. Here the first point we will learn what is coal. Here you can see in the picture the coal, which is the burning coal, and the coal does not produce any type of flame, but it gives heat. Now it is hard as a stone and is black in color. So it is very simple. We can understand what is the color of coal. Simply it is black in color and it is hard like stone. So this is the feature of coal, hard and black in color. Coal is one of the fuels used to cook food. Now where does this coal is used? So coal is used to cook the food as a fuels. Okay, and earlier it was used in railway engines. Earlier time the coal was used in the railway engine. Why? To produce steam. And we know that there were some steam engines, some engines which were running on the steam. Those are called as steam engines. So to produce the steam of the water, some fuels are used, and that is nothing but it is coal to run the engine. Now here is the first use of the coal is to cook the food. So coal is used as fuels to cook the food. Another is used in railway engines to run the railway engines. Now it is also used in thermal power plants. Third use of the coal, where the coal is used in thermal power plants. Why it is used in thermal power plants? To produce electricity. So electricity is produced by using this coal in the thermal power plant. The next use is coal is also used as a fuel in various industries. In different type of industries, coal is used as a fuel. So these are the uses of coal, and this is the coal which is hard in the nature like stone and it is black in color. The next point is some types of coal. Now there are some different types of coal. Coke. The first type of coal is coke. Coke is an tough, porous and black substance. You can see this is the coke. This image is nothing but it is coke. So how is the coke? What are the features of coke? Coke is tough. Porous. Porous means which are having small holes on it. And black substance. Again it is black in color. And as it is a type of coal, it is also black in color. So coke is tough, porous and black substance. It is almost pure form of carbon. It is also pure form of carbon. Coal, coke, these are the forms of carbon. Now where the coke is used? Coke is used in manufacturing of steel and extraction of metal. So there are some industries which manufactures, which produce steel. So steel industries are there, and again there are some industries which can extract the metals. Extraction of metals means the separation of metal from its ore. That is called as extraction. So in the extraction of metal and in the steel industry, for the preparation of the steel or producing the steel, coke is used. Next point is Some types of coal. The second type is coal tar. Initially we have seen coke, now coal tar. You can see this is the coal tar. This is the coal tar. It is also black in color. You can see coke, coal tar and coal. All are black in color. And coal tar is black, thick liquid. If you see, it is in liquid form. But how it is? Thick liquid. Not so too much in liquid format. It is quite thick with an unpleasant smell. Unpleasant, which is not pleasant. Pleasant means which gives happiness, but unpleasant, by getting it we cannot feel happy. So here unpleasant means different type of smell it has. It is a mixture about 200 substances. So this coal tar contains near about 200 substances. It is a mixture of 200 substances. Products obtained from coal tar are used in various industries such as dyes, drugs and perfumes. So some products which are obtained from the coal tar, when the coal tar is getting processed, some different type of objects or substances we obtain, and all those substances are used in different industries. For example, dye industry, drug industry and perfume industry. If you see some dyes, they are having a different smell, that is unpleasant smell they have. Drugs, they are also having different type of smell, that is unpleasant smell, because the substances which are prepared from this coal tar, they are used here. Here is one point. These days bitumen, you have to underline this, a petroleum product is used in place of coal tar for metaling the road. Now instead of coal tar, nowadays bitumen product is used for making the roads. So these are the uses of coal tar, which is black color, thick liquid with unpleasant smell. Next point is coal gas. Some types of coal. Now there are some types of coal we have seen. First coke, then coal tar, and next is coal gas. So what is coal gas? Coal gas is obtained during process of coal. When the coal is under processing, at that time gas is generated. That gas is nothing but it is coal gas. So when the coal is under process, at that time this gas is obtained to get the coal. Now it is used as fuel in many industries. This coal gas is also used in many industries situated near the coal processing plant. The industries which are located near the coal processing plant, where the coal is being processed, in such a plant or around it there are many industries, and in such industries this coal gas is used. Next point is, we can see here next point, some types of coal. So what are the some types of coal? There are different types of coal. First we have seen coal tar, coke, coal tar, then coal gas, and now next point is petroleum. So what is petroleum? Petrol and diesel are obtained from a natural resources called petroleum. Petrol, diesel, they are obtained from natural resource called as petroleum. How petroleum is formed? Now here is the question. Many students are having the question in their mind. Then if the petrol and diesel is obtained from these petroleum like resources, then how this petroleum is get formed? So there is points written here how the petroleum is get formed. Petroleum was formed from organism living in the sea. Now in the sea there are different type of organisms which are living, plants, animals, many things are there. So from them this petroleum is getting formed. As these organisms died, when these organisms which are living in the sea, when they get died, their bodies settled at the bottom. So when the animals in the sea, when the plants in the sea, or when any living organism in the sea, when it becomes dead, its body settles down at the bottom of the sea. And then when it gets settled at the bottom of the sea, then it is get covered with layers of sand and clay. So that dead body get covered with the layer of sand and clay, not one time, it happens many times. So all the layers get deposited on the body of that living organisms. So over millions of years, absence of air and high temperature, and high pressure transform the dead organisms into petroleum and natural gas. So this process happens over the millions of years. So on the dead body, many layers of the clay and sand get deposited. So the pressure of the layer get increases day by day. So over the millions of years, because of that more pressure and high temperature, and there is absence of air. So because of that, that dead body slowly convert into petroleum and natural gas. So this is the story how the petroleum is formed. It is given in detail in our textbook, so you have to read it properly. This is a picture of the petroleum and natural gas deposits, how it is get deposited, and we can see, you see that the layer containing petroleum, oil and gas is above that of the water. Why is it so? Recall that oil and gas are lighter than water and do not mix with it. If you see here in this diagram, here is the water level. Above the water level there is oil level, and above the oil level there is a gas level, and these are the wells, and from these wells this oil gas is taken out. Now this is found under the ground. When we dig well, sometimes we get a different unpleasant type of liquid, unpleasant liquid such as petroleum only. So then there is extraction of all those material which can be separated into petrol, diesel, kerosene and many other things, coal. But if you see, above the water level oil is present and then gas is, because this oil gas cannot mix in the water, they are lighter, so they are above the water level. The next point is refining of petroleum. So what is the refining of petroleum? Petroleum is nothing but it is dark oily liquid and unpleasant odor. A mixture of petroleum gas, petrol, diesel, lubricating oil, paraffin, wax, etc. The process of separating the various constituents, fractions of petroleum is known as refining. Here you can see in the picture, this is a petroleum refinery. So this picture shows how the petrol refinery is. In our book also it is given. So what is the petroleum now? Petroleum is nothing but it is dark oily liquid. Petroleum is nothing but it is a dark oily liquid and unpleasant odor. Odor means smell. Unpleasant, which we don't like. So that unpleasant odor the petroleum has. So petroleum is nothing but dark oil liquid with unpleasant odor, with unpleasant smell. The mixture of petroleum gas, petrol, diesel, lubricating oil, paraffin, wax. So what is the petroleum? It is, you have said, dark oil liquid with unpleasant smell, but this petroleum is a mixture. Whose mixture? Petroleum gas, then petrol, diesel, lubricating oil and paraffin, wax. So these are the constituents of petroleum. So all are mixed there in the petroleum. The process of separating. Now the process of separating the various constituents, fractions. Which are those? Petroleum gas, petrol, diesel, lubricating oil, paraffin, wax. These are called as constituents or fractions. These are the constituents and fractions of the petroleum. So when you separate all those things, that process is called as refining. So when this petroleum gas is separated from the petroleum, that is refining. When petrol, diesel, lubricating oil, paraffin wax separated from the petroleum, that is called as refining. It is carried out in a petroleum refinery. So where it is done, where this separation is done, where this separation is carried out, so it is carried out in the petroleum refinery. So this is a petroleum refinery which can separate the fraction or constituents of the petroleum into a separate part, like petroleum gas, petrol, diesel, lubricating oil and paraffin wax. So this is all about refining petroleum. Next point is various constituents of petroleum and their uses. So we must know, all the students we have to know it, what are the constituents of petroleum. So first constituent of petroleum is petroleum gas in liquid form, that is LPG. In our kitchen we have a cylinder, LPG cylinder, where the liquefied petroleum gas is filled. We use it for our cooking purpose. Means we use that LPG as a fuel for our cooking purpose. Now this LPG is used, where it is used? Home and industry. Next, petrol. We know that use of petrol. Motor fuel, aviation fuel, solvent for dry cleaning. Now it is used in the to run the different type of automobiles, and this petrol is used in for the purpose of dry cleaning. There are many dry cleaners are available in our city. So when we send our new sari for dry cleaning, so there which substance is used? Petrol is used. So by using the petrol, whatever the stains and patches are available on our new sari, that can be cleaned or that can be removed because of this petrol. So this petrol is used in the dry as a dry cleaner. Now kerosene, where the kerosene is used? Kerosene is used as a fuel, where for the stove, lamp and for the jet aircrafts. Diesel is used as a fuel, but where? For heavy motor vehicles, truck, tempo, bus, like this heavy motor vehicles, and electric generators. In electric generators also this diesel is used. Now lubricating oil, what is the lubricating oil and where it is used? So it is used for the lubrication purpose. If any machinery is not working properly, then we add some oil drops in it. That is nothing but that is the lubricating oil. If you want to see, then you can visit a tailor shop. You can ask the tailor. There is a sewing machine where he is also using lubricating oil to run the machine smoothly. Paraffin wax, where it is used? Now paraffin wax, it is one type of constituent of petroleum and it is used in the ointment, candles and vaselines. Vaseline we apply on our face in the winter season because our skin becomes too much dry. So to get the smooth skin, we use this Vaseline. And ointment, there are different type of ointment creams which we apply on our joints, on our body. So that ointment cream also has paraffin wax, and candle. Candle also made by this paraffin wax. The last constituent is bitumen. So this bitumen is used in paints and road surfacing. Nowadays, to make the roads, bitumen is used instead of coal tar. And the paints, if you use some paints for coloring our house, these walls, so that paint have a different type of smell, unpleasant smell, because of bitumen is added in the paint. So all these are the constituents of petroleum and the uses of these constituents where it is used. Next point is natural gas. Now natural gas is very important fossil fuel. It is most important because it is easy to transport. Now these are the features of natural gas. Many times the question is asked in the exam, why is natural gas is very important fossil fuel? Why it is called as important fossil fuel? Because it is very easy to transport. So from one place to another place it can be carried very easily. How? Through the pipes. So you have seen in the cities like Pune, we have many times we have seen, or maybe you have done the observation. This LPG gas is carried through the pipe. LPG gas is carried through the pipe. It is a natural gas. In natural gas, there are two types of gases. Which are those? First is CNG and second is LPG. CNG. What is the long form of CNG? CNG's long form is compressed natural gas. C for compressed, N for natural, and G for gas. Compressed natural gas, and this gas is used for power generation and also for vehicles. So many vehicles are running on this CNG. The special thing of CNG is CNG does not create any type of pollution. So CNG is used in more amount to run the vehicles. The last point here, LPG. LPG is used in homes. We know that in our kitchen we have seen the LPG cylinders, and we use this LPG as a fuel to cook our foods. And it is also used in our industrial areas or in industrial purposes, and the natural gas has been found in Tripura. Now where it is found? In Tripura, Rajasthan, Maharashtra and Krishna and Godavari delta. So in this area, this natural gas is found. Next point is, some natural resources are limited. So we know that some natural resources are limited and some are unlimited. Now drive at a constant and moderate speed. Now see, there are some precautions, because we know that some natural resources are limited, so they will get exhausted by human activities. So next generation will not get, if it is get exhausted. So we have to use them sparingly, and how can we take some precautions, and how can the next generation get the benefit of this. So drive at constant and moderate speed as far as possible. So if you are driving any vehicle, so you have to take precaution that if someone is driving, then that person has to drive at a constant and moderate speed as far as possible. So it will save the use of petrol and diesel, so it will not consume more petroleum. Switch off the engines at traffic light or at a place where you have to wait. So when you are at traffic signal, if you are waiting of your friend, then you have to switch off the engine. You should not keep switch on. If you keep switch on, then it consumes more and more petrol, diesel. So already we know that it is in limited quantity, so we have to use it sparingly. So we have to switch off the engine at that places. Ensure correct tire pressure. Ensure regular maintenance of the vehicle. So when the correct tire pressure will be there, when there will be regular maintenance of the vehicle, then definitely it will help to save the petrol, it will help to save diesel, or it will help to save these natural resources which are in limited quantity. So in this way the lesson is completed. So read the lesson properly, and whatever the notes are here, you have to read all those things. Thank you.